In professional boxing, you hear the phrase all the time: styles make fights. A matchup can be truly legendary or truly disappointing based solely on the comparison and contrast between the styles of the opponents, how evenly or unevenly they're matched, reach and height advantages, southpaw or orthodox, inside or outside, puncher or brawler, offensive or defensive. Technique can be taught, but style comes from within each fighter. No two fights are the same. But what do you do with a fighter whose style slips through your fingers? How do you handle an opponent who sizes you up and then improvises, filling in where you're deficient, meeting you right at your weakest points? What kind of style is it when you're facing a seeming shapeshifter, someone you can't read? Three-weight world champion boxer Terence Crawford has a record of 36-0, largely gained through what's been described by pundits as a combination of technique, instinct, and an ability to adapt to his opponent's diverse styles.
But Terence Crawford just figures people out. He finds a way, he switches stances. He'll start out southpaw or start out orthodox, then he'll switch up on you and start boxing you up. He puts all the data into that computer and then starts finding your weaknesses, and then he gets nasty with you. And I love one of the things I like about him is how fucking mean he is.
Crawford has clawed his way through 3 divisions, gaining titles and leaving defeated opponents in his wake with his unusual style. Many a name gets thrown around as a possible foil, a potential opponent to be his eventual downfall. But so far, none have risen who aren't eventually knocked aside. How long can this unique champion hold on to his pristine record? Are there any fighters out there who can knock him from his perch? And is there a style out there to match Crawford's and overtake it? Like, share, and subscribe to Ultimate Fighting Network as we find out what it's really like to fight three-weight world champion Terence "Bud" Crawford.
That's where it all started at. Me going in the street, putting on the gloves, me fighting in the alleys. Just a typical bad kid running the neighborhood.
Terence Crawford was born in Omaha, Nebraska, and grew up in a home and a life where he was expected to fight to succeed. According to his mother, he was born with his hands balled into fists, and she knew he'd be a fighter from day one. He took up boxing from the age of 7, a young kid with a lot of anger and a fire in his belly to prove his worth to his family and himself. As an amateur, he fought 70 official bouts and lost only 12. This path led him to a shot at the 2008 Olympics, but a loss to Sadim Ali kept him from that goal. Instead, he debuted as a professional lightweight in March of 2008 and has been climbing the ranks through 3 weight classes ever since. From the beginning, Crawford was noticed as someone special, a contender. His unique style and high fighting IQ, hard-earned from his difficult childhood and work as an amateur, set him apart right away.
You know what? He had everything. Nah, for real, he had everything. When I first fought him, he had good speed, timing, great punching power, know how to control the range very well. IQ was through the roof.
Crawford won his first title as a lightweight in 2014 against Ricky Burns, displaying his particular emerging style as a professional: switching.
I think maybe there was one of the rounds I think I hurt him with a body shot, but again he just kept getting back to what he was doing, switching, getting back to it, especially when he was southpaw. He was just so awkward.
Terence Crawford is one of a seemingly hallowed group of fighters who can switch effortlessly from orthodox to southpaw and back again with no dip in quality. It's one of many tools at his disposal that he uses as a chameleon, trying to find the best way to match his opponent's styles. Crawford's like a jazz musician, playing the changes with ease, and he forms his strategy as he goes. Ambidextrous, hard-hitting, instinctual, an efficient counterpuncher, and equally at home offensively as well as defensively, Terence Crawford is a slippery opponent. After defeating Ray Beltran by unanimous decision in November 2014, Crawford became lineal lightweight champion as well as the Ring Magazine's lightweight champion.
Yeah, we fought Terence Crawford here in Omaha. He beat me by decision.
As Crawford raises his gloves and celebrates it.
He's the first guy that really beat me because I was my 100%.
After this victory, Crawford decided to move up to light welterweight, mowing his way through the division, gaining and deepening his reputation along the way. By the time he faced off against Julius Indongo for a light welterweight unification fight, winning by knockout, he'd cemented himself as a creative, adaptive, and ambidextrous fighter with an uncanny ability to size up his opponents. He vacated his title and moved up to welterweight.
He's probably the best switch hitter I've ever seen.
What do you think makes him special as a fighter?
His instincts. He's the most instinctual fighter I've ever seen in my life. He's got an innate ability to just, like Customato, my mentor, used to say, and I think he was the best boxing guy ever, but that's obviously my prejudice. But he used to say, the great ones make it up as they do it. They just create it as they do it, kind of like a Jimi Hendrix on the guitar, playing it upside down. You know, a Bobby Fischer looking at a chessboard, seeing moves that nobody else sees. Or Louis Armstrong hitting notes that weren't even invented on the horn yet. This man does that. He hits his own notes. He creates it as he does it. He's got the greatest instincts I've ever seen.
Instead of watching tapes to get a handle on his game plan, Crawford downloads data from the first round or two of a fight, then makes his strategy seemingly out of thin air.
Listen, me personally, I fill him out come fight night, and if I feel I need to box him, I box him. If I feel I need to take it to him and stand toe-to-toe, I'll do that too. Like I said, I got an all-around game. I'm not one-dimensional. So there's a lot of things that I can do in the ring, and this week it will show.
Despite his record, the possible cracks in Crawford's strategy do appear from time to time, especially when he appears to misread his opponent, stubbornly holding on to a tactic, or when he applies the wrong style at the wrong time. Even great artists hit the wrong note sometimes, but they always finish the song.
Crawford came out and wasn't doing the things like you don't just get to do whatever you want. You have to make the moves like playing chess. Right. You have to dominate the middle of the board, then you can look for your combinations, right? Same thing in boxing. You have to do the things, make the boxing moves that set up you being able to do whatever you want. And Crawford skipped that part. And so he would move in as a southpaw, and Kavaliauskas was timing him and finding the right hand. Hit him with a right hand and knocked him down. Clean knockdown. And at that point, I had Kavaliauskas up 2-1 with a knockdown. Wow. You know, so, you know, that was that. But Crawford got up off the deck and stubbornly wasn't even going to change out of his southpaw stance, where he was getting hit with the right hand. He was showing him, yep, I'm going to stay doing just this exact thing and beat you up and knock you out, which he did.
Every time a new opponent rises to meet Crawford, the question gets asked, is this the style that'll finally beat him? Will this be the first defeat on an otherwise perfect record? So far, no style has been able to match Crawford's ability to improvise. As of November 2020, The Ring magazine has him as the number 3 pound-for-pound fighter in the world. ESPN has him as number 1. But the longer he reigns, the greater the stakes. Some fighters arise as once-in-a-lifetime legends, even if their names aren't as well known outside of a passionate fan base. Great fighters are remembered for their personality, character, passion, and, above all, their style. A unique style that makes each fight a world in itself. No matter what looms on the horizon for the young, angry kid who fought his way out of the alleys of Omaha into a world championship, the name of Terence Crawford will be remembered as an artist, a creative, a chameleon, a great improviser who fought with style.
When my career is all done and over with, they will say Terence Crawford is the best switch hitter. I don't think nobody in the sport of boxing have done what I've done in switching. That's just simple, period.